What is up, bros? Me Josh here. In today's video, we're previewing the currently work in progress Tier 6 Royal Navy cruiser, the London. And this thing is, as you can see, pretty thick. It's kind of like a thick Tier 6 Belfast in a way that isn't quite the Belfast. Doesn't have radar, but it's still actually quite good. And I've been really enjoying this ship. Now, I've been getting some mixed feedbacks from some other CCs on what they think about this ship, but for some reason, I'm really liking it, and it seems to be clicking pretty well. However, though, it may be partially because Tier 6 right now, as the recording of this video, and when I played it, was getting really good matchmaking. It seems with the matchmaking changes, Tier 6 seems to be getting top tiered a lot. I don't know why. I played this ship about 10 times, and I think I was bottom tiered maybe once. But still, I was able to get some work done when I was even bottom tiered. Main thing being relatively low detection, as well as the guns and smoke and working with that. But overall, this ship is quite beefy. However, if you do see, those sides are pretty flat, and obviously flat sides on cruisers like this will get you punished if you are broadside. So this is going to be a ship overall that is going to be maybe not the, as you even see me talking in chat, probably not going to be the easiest ship for new players. And what I mean by that is this is a ship that you can do with what it has. You can play quite good, but you can also get punished very quickly. And that is something that Royal Navy cruisers tend to be a kind of a rough line for new players, so not one I quite recommend. This one is in that same situation of you are going to potentially just be one shot off the planet, but you could also have, if you survive long enough, you can do quite well. Let's dive into the stats of the ship really quick. Now, the ship does offer 34,600 HP, which is actually quite high for Tier 6. A very sizable HP pool, and you do have those heals to bump it up just a tad. Main armament, these are 203s, so these 203s will be able to punish the cruisers, and mainly the cruisers, because if you've ever played lower tiers, there's a lot of ships, and you'll see me use both HE and AP. This is what this ammo type is going to use. 203s, these are going to smack. These are going to hit things really hard. They're going to set lots of fires, and they're going to get the job done, basically. It does have a pretty sizable reload. That is with the 14-second reload, but still, you're going to be able to... That's kind of normal for 203s because they do take a bit longer of a reload, and so they're going to do alright damage-wise. Now, HE 203s are still kind of in a weird spot with inertia fuse being around the world. You know, you almost kind of don't want 203s, but overall, this is the ability to kind of wreck face with the AP, and that's when this thing is going to really shine. Torpedoes on this, the range on this is 13.4, so that is one of the downsides on it. The range is relatively short, but your detection is also 10.5, so not the biggest gap in being able to fire without being spotted, but 10.5 kilometer detection for surface is actually pretty low for this tier, so that is assuming you have a at least a 10-point captain with concealment expert. But torpedoes, there's one set on each side, 7 kilometers. I didn't really get to ever use those torpedoes, but it is always nice to just have that little pocket, you know, weapon if you want to use it. So, but I never really did kind of use it. 7 kilometers is quite short. It's kind of a last ditch effort of being able to kind of pump in some damage. But they are there, and so you'll have them. AA on this ship is actually quite high for this tier. It has a rating of 59, so you are going to be knocking down some planes, and there were some games where actually getting like 10, 15, 20 planes, and we were doing a bunch of damage. So the AA is actually quite nice. Now, I don't even think I have it set up for AA, maybe BFT, nothing else, and we were able to chunk down some planes. Again, we were getting really good matchmaking when we were testing this. Maneuverability was alright. Nothing too crazy. It's not like an Italian ship or anything like that. Also, you do have the smoke, so it feels kind of like Royal Navy. Gets going pretty quick, slows down pretty slow, and if you can do it, getting your smoke, you're going to be kind of safe there. So that's one thing I did kind of enjoy, is it does bring smoke, and anything with smoke in the lower tiers is something that's very strong. And as you see right there, the AP does kind of wreck even against an armored cruiser like the Alba. Those 203s, if used correctly, very punishing, especially at these lower tiers. Concealment, though, again, 10.5 kilometers, fairly low for this tier that is with concealment expert, and is something you can really use as your advantage. Disengaging, getting into a spot, popping that smoke, doing work. Anything with smoke is just so strong. Now, is it Belfast strong? No, it doesn't have radar. Belfast has a higher rate of fire. It has the smaller caliber shell, so you can use inertia fuse. These 203s, though, very, very punishing when used correctly. We were even getting some pretty big salvos. This is a ship I think we played 10 games in, 9 games, 8 games, something like that. And there were only a couple games that were under 90k. We were getting 100k games, 90k games. As for a tier 6 cruiser, this is our highest damage game that we got. For a tier 6 cruiser, that's quite good. 90k, 100k. It was fairly easy to do that. You feel like, because you see those salvos of a full salvo of HE, and you're doing 2,000 damage, or, you know, 2,500, 3k, and it seems like you're not really doing much because the reload's relatively slow. Like if I was in a Dallas with inertia fuse, I'd probably be able to do the same amount with each salvo. Then you look up and then you have 40k already, or you have 60k, or you have something like that. So the damage in this ship is if done against cruisers, is very spiky, because all of a sudden you'll just obliterate cruisers. There were times where we basically almost got dev strikes on cruisers. You're going to be going against Omahas, you're going to be going against Krabs, you're going to be going against all these other ships that aren't armored very well. Even your Leander brother on the tier 6 tech tree ship, if you run against that or any of the other ones, you're gonna smack those cruisers. So getting into a spot where you can be fairly stealthy, those 203s are very scary going against other cruisers. So a nice little trick to have up there is being fairly stealthy. But overall, tier 6, it is a premium ship. Big elephant in the room, I do not know how this ship is going to be available. However, it is still work in progress, so all these stats are subject to change, and I'm interested in what they do, because I'm hearing kind of conflicting reports on what people think about this. I've been having really, really good games with it. I found this ship to be quite fun. I almost found it to be a little too much fun, because 203s are quite dangerous if played correctly. However, though, when you look at balancing, you have to kind of bring everything in. I feel like this could be a ship that people would get kind of in a lot of trouble. You know, you can look at something like the Smolensk. The Smolensk is technically considered balanced because people are getting wrecked in it, and getting wrecked in it, and, you know, kind of dragging the average down. But no, this is a ship I'm pretty interested in seeing what happens over the ship. It could be just okay right now, and I think this is, if played correctly, is a very, very, very strong tier 6. Do I think it's the strongest tier 6? You know, there's some other ships that are pretty freaking solid. There's some high DPM. This is one I had a lot of fun in. Now, something I could see them do is maybe extend the range. Now, I think the strongest part is having that very low detection with 203s. I could see them potentially, you know, increasing the range of the main bat, because 13.4 is fairly low. You don't have a spotter plane option. So 13.4 is fairly low. I could see them maybe extending the main battery range, maybe out to 14 or something like that. But then also, on top of that, increasing the detection range. Maybe that out to 11, you know, maybe just go half a kilometer on each, 13.9, and then have it be 11. Something like that. I could see them increasing both of those ranges, because I feel like that will be the big kind of thing that sets it apart from everything else, and could be quite nasty, again, if played correctly. Although Royal Navy cruisers, not the easiest ship for newer players, and what I mean by that is they are ships, and there are situations where we were just obliterated. You know, you go against some battleships, and they're gonna just wreck your face with that battleship AP, and there's nothing you can really do about it. You know, it's not like this is super armored, but this is definitely, as of right now, looking like a decent little trainer for that Royal Navy heavy line, which we'll eventually see. A lot of those are work in progress right now. This is a ship that could be a great trainer, and just a good ship that potentially you could have just to be fairly strong. I think tier 6 is a very popular tier for a lot of people, and having a premium ship that is good as a trainer, I think is nothing wrong with that, for sure. Also, biggest things we have to compare it to, Belfast, I guess, at tier 7. The tier 7 Royal Navy cruiser, it kind of like that. And what I mean is, you know, it has the smoke, it has the HE, which the Royal Navy line normally doesn't have. The HE with the smoke, obviously the whole line has smoke, but as for having HE, not many on that line have it. This is obviously going to be kind of more towards the heavy line, but the heavy line doesn't have smoke, so it's kind of this weird mix. And overall, I think is quite good and quite fun. and I think you guys will really enjoy it. Still, though, it is a work in progress, so I'm interested to see what happens. But for me, it was a ship that I was pumping out a ton of damage in very consistently, and was able to really kind of make a big impact on the game. This is a ship that you can go in and be kind of aggressive in. What I mean by that is your low detection can get you into aggressive spots. You can push away battleships with your HE fire chance. You can knock away planes. You can do all kinds of stuff. So with that, it's actually pretty freaking strong, and something that I hope. I'm excited for this ship. Tier 6, you know, there's a lot of ships that have been around for a long time. There's a lot of good ships, so like the Budyani, the Leander, even at Tier 6 is really, really good. This one is bringing some pretty unique playstyle, and also the ability to kind of do like a unique job, if you will, that the Royal Navy line normally doesn't have. Also, it has smoke, so anything with smoke is just like primo. So, but yeah, this is a ship that I found out to be pretty easy to get 100k in. Again, there was only like 1 or 2 games that I was bottom tier, and still with having that low detection of 10.5 kilometers, you're still pretty nasty against any tier 8 cruiser. So having that ability to be that stealthy and be kind of this surprise cruiser in this, you know, that's kind of what I thought the Royal Navy Heavy line would be throughout the entire time, is kind of this another stealthy line, almost like the IJN, and could really be fairly stealthy. You know, all of a sudden out of nowhere, there's a big 203 salvo coming your way, and you're going to get wrecked. So with having hydro, this one having smoke, and you'll even see the AA get tested here a little bit. So the AA is actually quite good too. Royal Navy line known as having some fairly good AA. However, this is going to be Ryujo, so Ryujo known as being fairly strong. So yes, overall, I'm enjoying this ship. I think we'll probably see some changes, and I think if they do change something, it'll be both with the firing range. That seems to be one of the biggest drawbacks. 13.4, yeah, it's fairly low, although we see the same thing on the Leander. But 13.4 kilometers on the main battery range, and then we also see maybe an increase to the detectability range. 10.5 right now. Also, one big value that was quite surprising is these are 203s. The firing and smoke penalty was actually at 6.8, which seems very low for 203s. So I think I think detection will probably get touched the most. And you can see us knock down a couple planes right here. Again, we're not fully AA'd out or anything like that. I think only BFT we're using right now, and I don't think I'm using, yeah, I'm pretty slow to use the the reinforcement sections. But again, we're going to be able to knock out some decent planes here, knocking out the spotter plane, knocking out all that kind of stuff. So shredding some planes right there, 10 planes, no big deal. And yeah, overall, fairly good. This is another ship that something like Expert Loader is really, really good. Concealment Expert is a captain we were using, and also stuff like Superintendent. So overall, a fairly solid ship. I was having a lot of fun in, and the Tier 6 Royal Navy premium ship. Still currently work in progress, so these stats are subject to change. But overall, it's very promising. I was having some fun, and I think it offers a pretty fun playstyle. Bringing smoke into low tiers always makes a ship strong. And then having that Royal Navy HE, you know, we've only ever seen it with the Belfast, really, when it comes to cruisers, but still could be very, very strong, very, very deadly, very stealthy in those big caliber shells. Overall, I'm having a lot of fun with this ship. I'm interested to see what they do, and I hope you guys are excited for it as well. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.